hello everyone. A tiny cold open before we jump into the episode because we just finished recording it. I forgot. We realized we forgot to talk about our new merch. Woo! We got a new beanie and we have a new mug. We also have a couple of leftovers of the yellow mug. And oh my God, people have been posting photos of the yellow mug.
And I just got mine.
Yes!
Oh my God. It's so cute.
I think mine is waiting for me at the mail and I left the city. So I wasn't able to get it yet. But we got some leftovers of those. We got a couple of extra pins. The bookmarks are on sale. So we have a beautiful little shop now, you guys. And if you're if you've ever wanted, this is the moment if you've ever wanted some merch, because if you order it now, because of some pre-orders on the beanies and stuff, you'll get it in time for Christmas. And that's what really matters. So we wanted to let you know that's in the show notes, or you can just go to booksunboundpodcast.com and there's a link there. Let's jump into the episode. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to Books Unbound, the podcast where we unbind books to get to their hearts with your hosts, me, it's Ariel, and...
me, Ruben, your old friend.
My old pal, Ruben. Guys, we are recording this on September 26th. Do you know what happens in less than 12 hours?
Happy birthday to Ariel!
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. September 27th is my 27th birthday.
Oh
Really? It's my golden birthday.
I forgot to send you champagne. Oh my God, I feel like a bad friend.
Actually,
I don't know how
true.
I would do it, but...
I should get some champagne and have some champagne tomorrow because I always...
You have to.
I got to do it right.
Yes.
So today we're going to do a little bit of a birthday episode. Technically, I guess my birthday is tomorrow, but let's be honest.
And when this comes out, it'll be long
a week
gone.
ago. Yeah. It's but it's my birthday weekend, as I keep reminding everyone.
Oh, of course. A birthday is not just one day. When you become an adult, you really need to stretch it out. Make it feel good.
Soak that thing up dry. So one of the things I did for my birthday was I treated myself. I spent the money to buy a new microphone.
Hell yeah.
So you guys are listening to the new microphone, and I hope it sounds really good. But here's the thing about new equipment. It's kind of funny. I notice this with everyone, like with new YouTubers especially, like that's where I notice it more because that's the thing I watch the most. But like when a new YouTuber gets a new camera, the first few videos with the new camera aren't actually that good because there's a learning curve.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know what's going on.
Exactly. I don't know how this thing works. So I think it's doing a good job, but but we'll find out in a couple of weeks if I've figured out. But eventually, hopefully in a couple of weeks from now at least, this will be silky smooth audio. So anyway, I'm really excited about that, and I definitely wanted to shout that out because I would not have been able to get the new microphone without the support of our patrons. I was like, you know what? This month, my Patreon support from the podcast is going to a new microphone and and a new arm. I got an arm railing for my desk, but you can't see that right now because I'm at my boyfriend's apartment. So
there you go.
I had to bring everything here. But speaking of bringing stuff here, I brought your presents here.
Oh.
So
excited.
Yeah, like I said, we're going to do a bit of a birthday episode. So first, part one of the birthday spectacular is me opening multiple gifts that Raylene sent me. And then part two is a birthday quiz. So I thought this was really dumb, but I also really wanted to do it. And so I put together, how many questions did I come up with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 6. So I came up with 6 different birthday questions that Raylene is going to ask me, I'm going to give my answers, and then in just a few short weeks, I'm going to ask Raylene, and she's going to answer on her birthday episode.
Yes.
So I thought that would be fun. And it's kind of like, I bet you when people ask these questions, they're going to be curious about your answers, but you're not allowed to answer these. People have to wait. They have to wait until
it's
your
actually my birthday. I can't do a birthday quiz when it's not my birthday. Hello, come on.
So, okay. I have your presents here. There's 3 of them. Well, there's 3 packages, I mean. Mm-hmm. 2 of them, they all come from Indigo.
Yep.
2 of them look like the normal flat pack boxes that books come in. But then one is like, how do I explain this?
Oh, that's longer than I thought it was going to be. Now I'm not sure which... I'm starting to think that it's a different gift in there than what I originally thought when you told me there was a weird shaped box.
It is a weird shaped box.
Why is it so big?
It's like a small shoebox almost.
Yeah. Okay, you have to start with that one because it's the weirdest box.
I just realized I don't have scissors. Oh, Kano! Do you have scissors anywhere? Or a knife? Or a sword? Maybe? Don't throw them. Thank you. Okay, I got scissors. Okay, here we go. You know when you're watching cooking shows on TV and they're like, so next step is that you put this in the oven. And then they put it in the oven and then they say, here's one we cooked earlier.
Yeah.
That's what I should have done. I should have had a pretend package that I just rustled, but I secretly have already opened all of them. All right. I'm so confused because, the thing I didn't mention about this box that sort of looks like a shoebox, it's so light. It's like, it feels like
nothing in it.
It kind of feels like there's nothing in it. So let's see what is. Okay, so far it's just a giant. Okay, I'm starting to think we've got a conspiracy on our hands. Oh my goodness, it's a beautiful pen.
In the biggest box possible.
Wow, Indigo really was like, we're out of small boxes. Okay, this isn't just a pen though, ladies and gentlemen. It's a floaty pen, as it says on the package.
I love it. It's
floaty
so cute.
pen. It's actually adorable. It's got a blue, like sapphire-y blue glitter. I don't know if that was on purpose, Raylene, but sapphire is the September stone.
I didn't even think of that. I just thought it looked like the ocean.
Oh,
it reminded me of you.
It's so beautiful. I thought it looked like the ocean.
Yeah.
All right, how do I open this pen? Oh, it's like a classic ballpoint, ladies and gentlemen. The most versatile of pens. It is. It's a twist.
Nice.
And here I go writing. It's got a beautiful, silky smooth black ink.
Oh, yeah.
I'm feeling great about this pen. I will use this a lot, Raylene. Thank you. I love it.
That's so cute. Guess what? I actually just bought one of those for myself too, but mine has cats floating around in it.
It actually is very addictive to kind of flip it upside down and watch the little stuff inside of it float around. So that's sick. Thank you.
It's a good intro.
All right. Next up, the floaty pen. The floaty pen in the giant box. That was very deceptive because I never would have guessed pen.
I know, right? It was also so much bigger than I thought it was going to be the way you described it. I thought it was surely something else, but no. Giant box for tiny pen.
Here we go. This is the thinnest of the boxes. I'm really excited for this.
That's the next one I wanted to do.
ASMR. Wait for it.
Oh, yeah.
Nailed it. Did smack the microphone at the end there, but that's okay. Oh my god. Raylene LeMay. Skip Bow!
This is my favorite one.
Okay. Skip Bow is a card game. Fun is in order, it says. It looks a lot like Uno. But it's
by the creators of Uno, which is why I got it for you.
That's so funny. Okay, so when Raylene was over here in Nova Scotia a couple weeks ago, we played a lot of Uno. Hilariously, for some reason, Raylene brought Uno.
I love Uno, and it's easy to carry. It's easy to bring on a plane in case you get bored.
But I'm glad you did because we had a lot of fun playing Uno. Mm-hmm. And now here is Skip Bow, the challenge. Be the first player to get rid of your stockpile. The twist? You have to get rid of them in sequence.
Well, that sounds challenging.
That sounds great. Made in Mississauga. Wait, that's confusing. It's made in India, but Mattel Canada is in Mississauga. There you go. We're all learning something new. That is amazing, Raylene. I will play this with my family tomorrow on my birthday.
Amazing.
Because that sounds hilarious.
That's the dream.
All right, on to the third and final box. This one's thick, so it's either 2 books or it's 1 big book. Trying to
Can you imagine if I just bought you like a 600-page book?
I know, I'm a little
like,
scared
read
of
it.
that, but that doesn't sound like a thing you would do.
That would
Well,
be mean.
Let's see. So, do you ever find the type of box that has this like triangle?
Hard to open.
Freaking impossible to open. It's customer feedback. Maybe Indigo should take into account. Oh my goodness. Okay, on the back, there's 3 books in here. Okay. The first book. Okay, this is so exciting. The Tea Dragon Society by Kay O'Neill. This is. Oh, I read their book. Why am I so bad at names today? What was the name of the book I read by them?
Aquacord?
Yes,
or is that somebody else?
No, that was it. And I loved it. And when I forget where I reviewed it or talked about it, but everybody was like, you have to read the Tea Dragon Society by this author. You're going to love it. And I was like, yes, you're right. And it just kept not happening. And so Raylene messaged me and she was like, what are some books you want? And I just put this one on there because I thought fingers crossed, and fingers crossed indeed. This is so beautiful. It is so pretty. Oh my goodness. Okay, thank you. That would have been enough. But now there's 2 more things in here. Oh, Taproot! Yay! Oh, I'm thrilled about all the graphic novels here. Okay, Taproot, a story about a gardener and a ghost. Okay. So this book is one that people have been screaming at me to read. Really, the people are aggressive about this one.
Yeah.
I think people are like, this is so perfect for Ariel that they're mad at me for not having read it yet.
Yeah, it felt like one that you just needed to have. As soon as you mentioned it, I immediately added it to the cart because I was like, this is the one. If I could only get you one book, I probably would have chosen that one.
That's funny. On the back of Taproot, Kay O'Neill from the Tea Dragon Society blurbed it, so there's a little connection there. I do feel like the graphic novel world is very connected, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, let's see what Kay O'Neill said. Taproot is like a garden for the heart, a warm and soulful story where nature is explored in all its forms. It's a pleasure to lose yourself in the beautiful artwork and one of the loveliest queer romances I've ever read. So I think it's a ghost and a gardener that fall in love, which when I say it out loud like that does sound perfect. Oh yeah, look, it says a story about a gardener and a ghost. Sorry, I'm just clearly losing my mind. This looks so beautiful. It's also really green in a nice, happy way.
Oh, I love that. That's very good.
Yeah. Oh, Raylene, thank you. But there's more.
You're so welcome.
My God, there's a 3rd book here. I am so glad that you got this. For some reason, it comes in plastic.
Oh, that's weird.
That's fancy. Why do they shrink wrap some books? Do you know that, Raylene?
I don't know. I've only seen that with manga, and it's usually because it's like rated R manga, and they don't want people to be able to open them up and look at them. But I've never seen that for just a regular novel. That's really strange.
This is, you know why I'm so happy that you got me this? Because I don't think I would have bought me this. So this is another book that I put on the list for Raylene when she asked, like, what are some books you want?
God, it's so pretty.
It is so unbelievably beautiful. I saw this book in one of the bookshops when you and me went to a bunch of bookshops, and I really thought about buying it, but it's $22 for a paperback, and I was like, I don't know. And it's just kind of different from my usual thing. Listen to this. It's called, wow, I didn't even say the name, sorry. It's called The Samurai by Shusaku Endo. Okay. The Samurai, one of Shusaku Endo's finest works, seamlessly combines historical fact and fiction. So that's cool. It's kind of historical based. In 1613, 4 low-ranking Japanese samurai, accompanied by a Spanish priest, set sail for Mexico to bargain for trading rights with the West in exchange for a Catholic crusade in Japan. This arduous journey lasts 4 years as the samurai travel onward from Mexico to Rome, but has their whole enterprise been futile from the start? Once the samurai return to Japan, will their only solace be a savior they're not even certain they believe in? Oh my God. It sounds really beautiful. It sounds like a part of history I don't know much about. You know what I mean? It was like, and I loved that it was the interaction of a lot of cultures that isn't typical, like Japan to Mexico to Italy. I'm like, whoa, okay, that's a really cool. And it's sort of piratey because you got like, they're setting sail. The cover is astonishing.
I think that might be my favorite cover I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Like, it's
you know
just
what's
perfect.
funny? Cover designed by Peter Mendelssohn. he is one of the greatest cover designers of all time. Why do I know about this guy? I feel like I liked one of his covers and then I looked it up and it oh my God, what the hell? I typed in his name on Google and the first article that came up is Peter Mendelsohn is done being the book designer. Pardon?
Oh. Whoa, drama.
Big drama. That's actually kind of hilarious, isn't it? But he did quite a few. Oh, you know what? The reason that I found him is because I studied one of his books for some project I was doing in school called What We See When We Read. And that got me onto his whole cover journey. People should look up. He's most famous because he did the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo cover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but then since then he's just gone on to do so many iconic, interesting covers. Yeah, people should look him up. Anyway, maybe that's the reason why this is perhaps one of the most stunning covers we've ever seen. Yeah. That's really cool. Raylene, thank you so much. I am so excited about all of these books. And you know what? They're that perfect type of birthday book where it's like, I wouldn't have bought myself these for a really long time, but I'm so glad I have them now.
Yeah.
That's so lovely. Oh, man. Well, okay, wait. Before we move into the birthday quiz, I feel like I've talked a lot. Do you have any new books to haul today?
It's funny that you should ask. I did go to Indigo yesterday, but listen, there was a good reason. So one of my friends and I, for the past 3 or 4 years now, I want to say, when fall strikes, like right, either, when the first day of fall hits or at the beginning of October, we always go to Indigo.
Yeah.
And we get a pumpkin spice latte and we go book shopping. And that's just something that we do once a year. And so I had already told myself I'm not going to buy many more books for the rest of the year because I have gone nuts lately. But I was like, I have to go to Indigo. And
it's a tradition.
I got 3 books by accident. I meant to only get 1. But I got 3. So I'll go in the order that I found them. The first one that I ended up picking up was a random book that I've never heard of, which I don't often do at new bookstores because it's kind of like a big gamble.
Yes.
Buying a brand new book and not knowing for sure like anything about it. But it seems very cool. It's called Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin.
Yes.
Look at this.
Heard of this one.
You've
it looks amazing. Well, it just looks awesome.
It looks very awesome, but I'll read the back so you can understand why I picked this up.
Please.
A young woman named Amanda lies dying in a rural hospital clinic. A boy named David sits beside her. She's not his mother. He's not her child. Together, they tell a haunting story of broken souls, toxins, and the power and desperation of family. Fever Dream is a nightmare come to life, a ghost story for the real world, a love story, and a cautionary tale. Samantha Schweblin creates an aura of strange psychological menace and otherworldly reality in this absorbing, unsettling, taut novel. And that just sounds so cool, but it's also quite a small book. It's like 170 pages, and look how gigantic the margins are.
It looks like Tokyo Ueno Station.
Yeah, it's almost like a little novella. So I feel like I just decided that I want to read this autumn. It sounds like a perfect kind of spooky, psychological, freaky little thing.
Yeah,
and
that's
I'm super excited. And also, it's actually translated from Spanish. The author is from Argentina. And it was written in Spanish and translated. So that's super fun.
I dare you to read that by the next time we record.
Oh my God. We'll see what happens. I'll see what I can do. I probably will now that you said that, though. I get really competitive. And I probably could. It seems like the type of thing I could read in a sitting if I just, sit down with a cup of tea. For
exactly. And it also seems like the perfect autumny, Halloween-y book. So I don't want you to wait too long on it.
No, I don't want to wait too long either. It seems really cool. And then the next book I got is The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan.
I've definitely heard about this one.
This one seems so random. It's like,
yeah,
it's kind of like a classic, like a modern classic that gets used for book clubs a lot, or probably used to get used for book clubs a lot. And for some reason, it just kind of crossed my path recently when I was looking at books online, and I was like, that sounds wonderful. And
what's the concept?
The concept is that it takes place, actually, it starts in 1949, and 4 Chinese women immigrate to the United States, and all they all know each other. I don't know if they meet in the United States or whatnot, but they start hanging out and getting to know each other and everything. And then it goes along as all of them have their own daughters. And so they're
cute.
American-born daughters and kind of the relationship that all of them have with each other.
Oh, wow.
And it just sounds so lovely and warm and happy. And I am just very excited about it. So I picked it up.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah, they just recently redid it in this, I think it's a 30th anniversary edition.
Oh, wow.
So it's nice. It's a cute little edition. So I picked that guy up. And the last one, we've talked about this once, I think, on the podcast. It's a short story collection called Verge by Lydia Yuknavitch.
Yes.
Yuknavitch.
And
it's just so cool.
Every
it's
time
so beautiful.
every time I see that cover, it like calls to me. Buy me, buy me.
Buy me. I know. I had the same thing and I was like, do I need a third book? And then I was like, but it's calling me. I can't stop. It just sounds so cool. And I mean, I love short stories. I've been wanting to get into short stories even more. So I decided to just buy it. But there's this little blurb from Vogue on the back that says, children harvest organs, janitors build magical worlds, and mourning lovers drive to destinations unknown in the searing precise collection. I'm like, well, that sounds spooky. Why are children harvesting organs? I love that. I love that about short stories, that they just have this like sharp concept and they can be so good in so few pages. And I just, I love that. I love short stories. So yeah, I got those. I also, I may as well haul the candle I bought. I also bought a candle called Pumpkin Patch. I'm burning it right now and it smells incredible in here.
Incredible.
I also bought pumpkin spice Cheerios yesterday. It was a fall fiesta, okay? I could not buy all that stuff.
That's amazing.
I'm feeling good. I also drank a pumpkin spice latte as promised, and it was great. It was a wonderful night. That is the end of my talk.
I had one more book to haul. It wasn't one of the books you gave me, so I didn't... I don't know how you'll feel about me getting this book. And I actually don't even want to... I was thinking about not telling you about it because it is a hardcover.
That's fun.
But I don't have to read it like in a month because it was a gift.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it doesn't count.
Connor got this as a gift. And that is why I decided to tell you about it.
Okay.
It is Beautiful World, Where Are You? By Miss Sally Rooney.
Wow, there you go.
I have it.
Very cool.
So this is absolutely the biggest book of the year. Like, especially, I've noticed, like, Sally Rooney is for sure really big everywhere, but she's especially big in Europe, like the other side of the water.
Yeah.
She just is, like, the biggest author right now, right? Like, I can't think of a bigger one. I think so. And this book had such a massive, like, marketing campaign that, look, I'm holding the pen that you gave me and flipping it upside down to watch the little things go up and down. But yes, like, they had a really big marketing campaign where they opened bookshops early so that people could go in, like, 50 different bookshops around the UK, go and buy your book, get it early. But then also they did a pop-up shops. I forget where in London it is, but there's, like, a specific Beautiful World, Where Are You pop-up shop where they like painted the cover as a giant mural, and you can go in there and you can buy the book, but you can also like buy merch stuff for the book. So anyway, I've just seen so many people reading and reviewing the book, and the hype machine got me. I was like, I'm so curious about this. I want to know how I feel about it. I've heard so many other opinions, and I mentioned it to Connor, and he was like, I'll buy it for you. And
That's nice.
And when he went to the bookshop to get the second book or the third book in the Dune series, because he wants all the new covers because he's doing a reread. So he's like, his original copies that he read of Dune, I think, are like at his mom's house in Ontario. So he was like, I'll just buy a new set and I'll do the beautiful new covers. So he had finished reading the first book and he needed, that was it. He needed the rest of the book. So anyway, he went to the bookshop and he got me this while he got himself the Dune book. So there's a Connor book haul too. So yeah, we'll see when I read that. Beautiful World, Where Are You? I'd love to read it soon, but I'd love to read all of the books I own soon. So what does that even mean anymore?
It's impossible to read all of them soon, unfortunately.
Really? It's time for the birthday quiz.
Birthday quiz. It's funny because you made up all these questions. So like I've looked at them, but I already forget what they are. So here we go. Let's start with the first question on the birthday quiz. What is your zodiac sign?
Libra.
And how do you feel about that?
I love being a Libra, but I don't really care about being a Libra. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yep.
I am not one of these super horoscopy people. For example, on one of our recent Patreon live shows, everyone was asking us like when exactly we were born because they wanted to know when like our sun and moon risings, I don't know, signs are and stuff. And I was like, it's fun. It's like fun. It's like doing a quiz in a magazine. Like it's that kind of fun.
Yeah, I
it
agree.
reminds me of doing like Teen Vogue quizzes and all of those things when I was a teen. But it just for me it doesn't matter, and I don't look it up or anything. I did. There was like literally 2 months a couple years ago where I like would check my horoscope once a week, and then after like a few weeks, I was like, this isn't accurate.
Right.
But it's fun. For me, it's fun in the same way that like tarot is fun, where it's like I enjoy doing it because it makes you think about your life from a different perspective. It makes you ask a question maybe you wouldn't have asked, or makes you think about something maybe you have been avoiding thinking about, and it just presents you with something, and you're just sort of like, okay, how do I interpret that? But I do like being a Libra. Out of all of the signs, I think I'm the only inanimate object, right? Everyone else is like fish or
What is
Taurus.
a Libra sign? Like, what is it again?
It's the scales.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. It's weird. It's like justice and fairness, balance in all things. There's also like a big Libra thing about being flirty and stuff, and I don't affiliate with any of that stuff. But there you go. I do like being a Libra. Thank you.
Wonderful. And so what is your birthstone? You already said it, but...
Oh, yes. It's sapphire. I put this on here because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all.
But I just thought it was funny because I was like, well, if it's a birthday quiz, we have to do all the classic cheesy birthday things.
Of course.
And one of them, and I remember when I was a kid, this felt like it was important, but now it's like not important.
No, it's true. Although that reminds me, my mom had this ring made when we were little that is all the 3 birthstones of like me, my brother, and my mom.
Cute.
So it's cute when you like use it for a
Yeah.
real practical purpose like that.
That's pretty.
But I'm not telling you what my birthstone is. Somebody could look it up, but I will not say right now because it's not my turn.
I like the sapphire, like the dark blue
I love
as
sapphire,
a stone. I think it's really stunning, and I really want like a sapphire ring. I think that would be really beautiful.
That would be really cool.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a real sapphire. So that's okay.
Okay, next question. How do you feel about having a September birthday?
Oh, I love this question. Good one, Ariel, from the past. I think it's really funny because there's, I think it might be the most common month to have a birthday, actually.
Really?
And I think it's because a lot of people get pregnant around Christmas and New Year time.
I guess, yeah.
And so then babies appear in September. But I love being born later in the year. Like, also, my birthday is September 27th. So it's basically October, right? Like, it's like at the absolute end. So, first of all, I don't know anyone else who has my exact birthday, and I like that. But there are a lot of birthdays around, especially as I've like gotten older and I meet more people. But I love having a fall birthday. I love it. I love when I was in school, I was really glad that my birthday wasn't in the summertime because it was like people,
Nobody could celebrate you.
Yeah, exactly. I can walk around school like people telling me happy birthday. And fall is my favorite season. So I'm just glad that my birthday is in September because it just feels perfect. So
I have a very interesting piece of news for you. So somebody else whose birthday is September 27th is, I would say, an icon of our time, a hero to both of us. And that would be Miss Avril Lavigne.
I feel
you
like
guys share
I
a
knew that.
birthday.
I feel like I knew that when I was a teenager and I'd forgotten. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Avril Lavigne. You were and continue to be very important to my soul. Thank you.
Thank you. That just felt important. I had to say it. Okay, next up. Do you have any birthday traditions?
This is so cute. Okay, I like this question because I'm really curious about your birthday tradition, so I get that I have to wait, but I thought it'd be fun to share mine as well. So the first one that unfortunately isn't going to happen this year because I'm going to, well, actually there will be a version of it that will happen, but the tradition is that when I wake up, my mom has put balloons everywhere.
Aw.
I think this is only possible because she's an early riser a lot of the time, and I sleep in late. So my entire life, when I wake up, there's balloons everywhere, and it feels freaking right. But I won't have that this year because I'm in Halifax because I have a pottery class on my birthday, so I had to be in the city, and I'll go home in the evening, afternoon, and I'm sure that there will be balloons there. But then the second tradition is everyone in my family has a cake that's their favorite, like, dessert. It's not even really cake, but like their favorite dessert. And then my dad makes that for our birthday. So, for my mom, it's Black Forest cake. She just loves Black Forest cake. And then for my brother, it's bread pudding. He loves, so it's not really, I guess that's not really cake, but like, you know, it's like a cake like thing. And then for my dad, it's spice cake. God, he loves spice cake. It's kind of hilarious how much that man loves spice cake. And then for me, it's the Christmas cake, which, so when I was a kid, well, my entire growing up, my dad made this really special cake that I have never tried anywhere else. And I don't even feel comfortable calling it a cake because it's so much more than a cake. Like if you think about the consistency of a normal birthday cake, it's like pretty fluffy and crumbly. This is like a dense, it's like very, very dense and spongy. Like angel cake?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine a dense angel cake, almost chewy.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. And then the icing, again, is like unlike anything I've ever tried before. So my entire childhood, we would have that special cake on Christmas. And it was like a cake that was my dad's mom's recipe. Okay. And then my grandmother passed away long before I was born, and so my dad like found the recipe in his 20s because he was like, I want to make that cake my mom always made, and was able to get the recipe like from some aunt or something.
Amazing.
And so it's like this special family cake that we always had at Christmas. At some point, I had an epiphany that like I must have been like 11 or 12. I was like, wait a minute, that's my favorite cake in the world, even though it's the Christmas cake. I want it on my birthday too. And my dad was like, yeah, fair. So now it's still the Christmas cake in my head, but I always also have it on my birthday.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So those are my traditions. God, I love that cake. Ha, I get it tomorrow.
Well, I'm excited for you to have it tomorrow.
Yeah, I know, me too.
This kind of ties into that question a little bit. What is one of your favorite birthdays?
This is cute. Okay, so yes, I was thinking about this because it's so funny how I'm reacting to these questions. Like, I didn't write them. I did write them. I just forgot about them, I guess. Okay, very simple. I was turning 22 or 23, I don't remember, but I was spending a lot of my time in England, and I happened to be over there for my birthday. Or like the week before my birthday or something. So I was living with my boyfriend of the time, and we were living in his parents' house. So I was like, I'm not going to invite people to my boyfriend's parents' house. That's feels wrong. And also it was kind of out of the way. So I was like, I asked a friend of mine if I could borrow her apartment. That felt scandalous, but I did it anyways. And she said yes. And I was like, okay, this is so exciting. I'm going to have my first proper party. I've never had a party. Like, I've never, like, awesome. As an adult or a teenager, I'd never had a party that I invited people to. Mm-hmm. So I did a poetry party, and I invited a lot of beautiful people and friends that I really love. And there was 2 activities. Activity number 1 was you had to come prepared with a poem. And God. Either a poem you liked, and you could just read it, or a poem you wrote. I didn't care. I was not going to put pressure on people. And I literally said, like, it can be a haiku. If you're scared of reading a poem, like, do a haiku. Like, it's totally fine. But everyone I know is book people, right? Yeah. And so people brought beautiful poems. People had memorized them. One of my friends, he is Irish, but he was living in London and is still living in London. Anyway, he read this poem. It was haunting. This beautiful poem about like an Irish person who misses Ireland, and it was like an old poem, but he remembered it, and he has an Irish accent, and it was just beautiful. Like, it made me sad listening to this man read his sad Irish poem. But it was just so much fun. And then the second activity was I did blackout poetry. So I had gone to a used bookstore. I had gotten 2 old books, and I tore them up, and I just pulled the pages out from the binding, and then I had a lot of permanent markers, and then I handed those out, and then we all just did blackout poetry. And again, people got really into the activity, and that was what made it so fun. Do you know what I mean? I was like, we're in it. We also ate brie. So
amazing. That sounds like a great party.
It was a really fun party, and it was like the last time I remember having a really, like, I don't know, it felt like a proper birthday. You know what I mean? The last few years I've moved around so much, and it's been COVID, that I feel like my birthday is always just a little bit of an afterthought, and that was the last time I was like, that was sick. I wish you could have gone.
It's okay. I was really far away. I was nowhere close to London. Final question.
Oh, here we go.
How do you feel about turning 27?
I had to put this one on here because I'm having a massive existential crisis, and I want to know how you're feeling about turning 27. So I guess in a few weeks I'll find it. I have so many mixed emotions, and I will not go on a big tirade about my feelings because nobody needs to hear the depth of that despair. But I do feel, and I think that this is actually really relatable to anyone having a birthday right now. I just feel like I don't get where the last 2 years went. Yeah. It just, like, it feels like I went from being 25 to 27 instantly. And I think everyone feels that way because the last 2 years are far from what anybody envisaged them being, obviously. No, like, I just feel like everyone's life got put on pause. Things that you didn't expect to happen have happened. Things that you wished happened didn't happen. And so we've all just sort of been in this waiting room, it feels like, for 2 years. Obviously, I should probably flag my lucky privilege that the worst it's been for me is just feeling like my life is on pause as opposed to having tragedy or displacement or so. Well, I guess I sort of did have a little bit of displacement.
Yeah,
I did get
made you move across the country.
COVID made me move. But like, it just feels like, where did those 2 years go? And I don't really know. And I know that some very exciting, fun, beautiful things happened in those years. Like, obviously, I bought a house, and I don't take that for granted. But it does still feel like, wow, I don't even know where that time went. I can't believe I'm 27. I feel like my mid-20s just didn't really happen. They just got sucked up, and now here I am in my late 20s. I'm like, what the hell happened? So I feel kind of nervous and a little bit forlorn, I guess, for those years where I'm like, I don't even feel like I was 26, where it just happened and it went. But I also feel like the last couple of years have really aged me. I feel 27. Do you know what I mean? I've been using the grandma emoji a lot, and I really relate to it. This is my 10-year anniversary of making YouTube content. So I've been consistently uploading videos and internet content for 10 years. And that's terrifying. And so I think there's just all of these things. And now I have a house and I deal with interesting house problems. So there's all these things where I'm like, no, yeah, I am 27. Also, like, I went to the bank the other day, Raylene, and there was this cocky jock teenage boy, okay, who clearly, like, you know, he was working as a bank teller, and he was straight from high school, right? Like, he'd graduated a few months ago. He's like 18 or 19, and oh god, I was standing in the line and I was like, please let me not have that as my teller. Please, I want the other lady. But no, I end up with this guy, and I'm just like, oh my god. And this is the thing, I was like, I am 10 years older than this teenage boy. I am 10 years away from teenagehood. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Like, like, when I look at teens, they look like babies to me in a beautiful way, in a fun, joyful, youthful way. But I do feel really removed from it now in a way 100%. I didn't a few years ago. I used to kind of relate more with teens than with people in their 30s, but now I have a lot more in common with people in their 30s than I do with people in their teens. And so I'm like dealing with this cocky teenager, and I just was like, I felt like a woman, you know what I mean? Like an adult woman. And I was like, he was giving me so much sass because I go up to the bank or to the teller, and I'm like, I need to deposit this check. And he's looking at me like I'm a fucking idiot. Because he's like, you can deposit a check on your app, right?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't say this to me, but I know this is what he's thinking. But I don't want to sass him and be rude because I get that he's new at his job and he's probably scared. So I just pass him the check and I'm like, I just need to cash this. And he was like, or deposit it. And he was like, okay. And he's like looking at the check, like, why is she wasting everyone's time? And he starts to put it into his computer and I'm like, God damn it. So I say to him, I'm like, it's an American check. And you just see the blood drain from his face. And like, he clearly has no idea what to do with an American check. He now feels like he was overly cocky and had started doing something on his computer. He wasn't deep into it or anything, but he was like, oh shit. He's like, oh, okay. And he just looks at it. He's like, I'm going to have to get my manager. And now he feels like younger than he was acting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just this huge situation unfolded in front of me. and you know why I really remember this? Because right before that, I had gone to Staples and a guy he was another teenager and he had completely failed at every step of the process. No. And I felt so bad for him because he was really nice. He was just like a nice young man. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, didn't know how to do this, didn't know how to do that, didn't know how to do that. And it's like totally okay. And I didn't mind. But I was just like, what are all these teens doing? So anyway,
we're not teens anymore. That's for sure.
I feel like an old lady. I feel like I lost my mid-20s. And I feel like there are important goals I want to hit before I'm 30. And I deeply understand that that's only 3 years away.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of reprioritizing in my life. What are those things? And if I want to do them, why haven't I done them? Ariel, go write more. Okay. Anyway.
I'm sure I'll feel exactly like that in a
quiz.
couple of months. My God.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear your answers to the birthday quiz. That was fun.
That was a lovely birthday quiz.
I like that people will get to know a little bit more about us.
It's cute.
That's cute.
It is nice.
Okay. What do we do next?
God, we start talking about books that we've read, I guess, at the 40-minute mark.
Raylene, I've talked for far too long. Tell us about any books you want to talk about.
Well, perfect.
Whatever you want to talk about.
Luckily, I've finished 3 books since we last did an update episode because I feel like it's been about a month since we did an actual update episode. So
been ages.
Yeah. So I've had time to read a couple of books. So
brilliant.
I just realized that there's another book that I don't have in front of me, but I'll talk about it as well. Or did I already talk about the guest list? Did I tell you about my feelings for that? I can't remember.
I don't think you did.
Well, okay. I think I talked about it when I was reading it, but I finished it because I remember there was an order of events leading up to when I came to visit you. I wanted to read a book right before I left, and that was one of them. Right. So I was listening to the audiobook for The Guest List by Lucy Foley, and it was super fun. It was like a wedding thriller secluded on an island in Ireland, and it was super fun. Like it was one of those books where you're like, there's like maybe 8 main characters and you know that something bad is going to happen to probably one of them. And you know that somebody that's also one of those 8 characters is probably responsible. And so you're trying to figure out like who is going to die, who is responsible for doing it. And it ended up being quite twisty turny as I expected. So I didn't quite see it coming. I had like a slight inkling about one of the things, but yeah, it was fun. It's one of those books where it's just fun to try and figure out what's happening as you read it. And the audiobook was great.
That's awesome.
It was, I think, full cast. Like there were a few like primary characters who all got their own narrator as far as I could tell. And that was really cool. So I really want to read her other book, The Hunting Party, soon because the audiobook is also available. So I will read that soon. So anyways, that was one just like fun book that I was able to read over a couple of days before I came to visit you.
I remember I picked that book out. So I'm
yeah,
really
you
glad
did.
that
You picked it for me.
Phew.
Another one, I can't even remember when I read this book, but I read it before I came to visit you. So maybe it was before The Guest List. I read Later by Stephen King, which is one of his, it is pretty great cover. It matches Joyland. It's one of the hard case crime Stephen King books. So this one I was really excited about because a lot of people, and even on the back of the book, it's compared to It. It says it shares a lot of, or it has echoes of King's classic novel It, which I didn't really get those comparisons that much, so I was a little confused by it, but I still really liked it. It just was a totally different vibe. So this book is about a boy named Jamie and his mom. Basically, she's a single mother, and she's looking after her boy, and he can talk to dead people. He first encounters a dead person. I can't remember exactly where, but he basically just sees them sitting there as if they're still alive, and he doesn't realize that they're a dead person until he realizes that nobody else can see them. And yeah, so and usually the people are just like in, either the place that they lived for a long time or the place that they died or whatever, and he'll interact with them and sometimes, find something that they wanted to pass along to someone, and so it kind of does that. He communicates with the dead people, but then throughout the book there comes one particular dead person who will not leave him alone, and it's very stressful. So in that way I can see the comparisons to it, because there is like this one figure that is just relentlessly coming after him. But it's just one kid. It's not about like a group of kids, like a la Stranger Things, that kind of Stephen King vibe, which is why I really like it. I love the camaraderie and like all the kids working together. So it was just a different vibe, but it was really good. I quite enjoyed it. And then I finally read The Green Mile by Stephen King.
Hey, wow, you're hitting up
I know, I don't know why I hit them all in September, and now I've got basically none left to read, but that is quite all right. So this one has been my biggest mashed potato book for the past little while, because I've read quite a few of my mashed potato books, but this one for some reason I just kept not reading, and I told myself I will read it this fall. If I don't read it this fall, then what is wrong with me? So I dove in. I started it before, or on my way to visit you actually, and then I read it a little bit while I was there, and I read a little bit on the way back, and then I read it for like a couple more weeks after that. So this one, it took me a little while to read it because it is quite long, but it was great. It was fantastic.
When the heck did you read while you were over?
I was reading it on my Kobo. There was a time when people were playing Rocket League, and I think you were in the shower, and I was like, I'll read my little book over here in the corner. But that's it. Like, I only read for maybe like 15 minutes while I was over there.
So I was like, I
snuck it in.
That's how much of a machine you are. Yeah, that's hilarious.
But yeah, this one, it was fantastic. I will say, I think I like the movie a little bit more. And that is also probably because I read, or because I watched the movie before I read the book. So it could have been reversed, because it is quite close, like in terms of the plot and the way the characters act, and a lot of the dialogue is straight out of the book as well. They are quite similar, but the movie really brings it all to life. The performances are so good.
I have not seen this movie.
You should watch
it. Mr. Tom Hanks.
Mr. Tom Hanks. And Sam Rockwell is also randomly in that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it is such a good movie. Wow. Like, it's very long, so I recommend, if you've got a lazy afternoon where you've got nothing to do and it's raining like it is right now, that's the perfect time to watch The Green Mile.
Okay.
Because you will cry. I'm just letting you know right now. Like, if you get to the end of that movie without crying, you are made of steel. It's just like such an emotional movie. It really takes you on a ride, but it's beautiful and so good. So I highly recommend that.
That's awesome.
And the last book that I finished is one that I finished just a couple of days ago. And that, my friends, is We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan Berry.
Woo!
This one, I have a lot of feelings about this one.
I'm really excited about this because I kind of feel like I know what you're going to say, but please say everything anyway.
I'm going to say it all. So this one, as people may remember, was one that you kind of chose for us as a book that you thought both of us would really enjoy because it takes place in the 80s and it has to do with field hockey. It's about a field hockey team. Sports book.
Girls team.
80s.
Got some
and witches.
Witchiness.
Yeah. So
it sounded perfect.
It does sound perfect. And in a lot of
coming of age.
Yeah, and it's a coming of age story. Like, it's just it's everything. And in a lot of ways it was perfect, but in some other ways it was not, unfortunately. The first reason being that it was very, very, very dense. It felt like it was 800 pages long. In reality, it's only 360. I don't know why. It just felt like it was so much longer than it was, and it took me a long time to read it. Like, I was aiming to read 35 pages a day so I could read it in a certain time frame, and those 35 pages felt like they were 100 every single day. Like, it would take me hours to read those 35 pages. So that to me always like knocks down a book like a star or two, just because it's like, why does it feel like such a struggle to do this? But the story itself is quite good, and what I loved the most about it was the the girls, like the team and their camaraderie and the way that they like really stick together, and you just feel like they're so connected. And part of that is because the book is actually told from the perspective of the team as a collective we. So
that's such a cool narrator.
It's so cool, and it honestly, like, it fit perfectly with this book, and it made it it elevated it to a certain level. Like, if it hadn't had that, if it would have just followed one character, I think it would have been so much less interesting, because this you just feel like they kind of like they are connected as the story goes along. Like, they can talk to each other in their heads, and so, like, they don't even really notice it at first. It's kind of just like they're so connected that they're just like, oh yeah, we know what each other are thinking, and it's more of like an offhand thing. They just kind of understand what's going on with each other. But it's so cool. So how the story starts out is they're this team, a field hockey team, which is actually 10 girls and 1 boy. There's a girl Corey and a boy Corey. Man, it's very interesting. So it's about this field hockey team, and they are not very good. They kind of suck, and they're now in their senior year, and they really want to win. And so one girl reads this book that says something about like a spell, basically like a spell that they could do. And so they all write their names in this notebook, which becomes like the devil's book. But it's just like this notebook with Emilio Estevez on the front. And so everything revolves around Emilio. Like, Emilio does everything for them. It's so funny. This book is quite hilarious as well. It's very comical the way it was written. But yeah, so they all become connected through this book, and they start in order to win, they feel like they need to do bad things, and so they'll do something bad, and then they'll write about it and then clip it into Emilio, and then it gives them luck, and they start winning. But as it goes along, they're like, we need to start doing worse things, like it's not strong enough anymore. And so it kind of, starts escalating, but not in like too crazy of a way. I was expecting it to like really go off the rails and just be absolutely insane, but it wasn't. It kind of remains within this normality, I guess, where it doesn't become too crazy, and it doesn't like become too supernatural or anything like that. It all feels very real.
Right.
So that's what I liked about the book. It just felt too long, and I was kind of hoping it would go a little bit more crazy. I think that would have worked for this book, but it didn't, and that's fine. It's not the book's fault.
Okay.
So I liked it, but I didn't love it. But I'm like, I do think it's cool. And I think anybody looking for a witchy book for fall, definitely give this a read, because the group mentality and witchiness, and like some of them are just like make up their own spells and stuff. Like, it has a lot of fun witchy vibes to it, and it takes place in Danvers, Massachusetts, which is close to Salem, or used to be Salem or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just great. So I do recommend it, even though it wasn't perfect.
I'm really glad you read it, because we'd been talking about it for a while now. We were both so curious about it. I don't know how that impacts me. What do I mean by that? It's not that what you're reading has to impact me. I just mean, like, I was really excited about it, but
and now you're not sure.
And now I'm not sure about the denseness, because when I bought it, I did try. I read through the first page, and I kind of know what you mean about the denseness, where it's just like, I think maybe it is because it's the group narrator. There's so much going on that there's like so many things being said, and it just, the writing style felt a little, maybe it's not that it's messy, just, I don't know, dense is the perfect word.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll all see if I read it.
But yeah, I'm glad that I read it, because I feel like it's the type of book that if I didn't read it now, I could easily put it off for a few years.
Yes.
For some reason, I just feel like it could fall by the wayside. But I'm really glad that I just decided to pick it up. It feels good to read a book that you just bought within the past few months.
Oh, yeah.
I really find that satisfying.
It's beautiful. It's what that is.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen.
So, wait, were those all the books?
Those are all the books I've read.
Okay, cool,
are you currently reading anything?
Currently reading anything? Me?
Interesting question, I know. Could have many different possibilities.
It's a very bold question you've asked me. No. I guess, I don't know what's happened in the last month. I just haven't been reading at all. I do want to tell you about this game I've been playing.
Ooh, I mean, that counts. Currently playing is basically like currently reading. If you're not reading and you're playing, that's what you're reading.
God, I love Raylene. Okay, so the other night, literally we were laying in bed and Connor was like, we should read. And I was like, I don't want to read. I was like, I don't know what it is. I just don't want to read right now. And he's like, okay, you should play a video game. And I was like, you're right. I haven't been playing video games in a long time. And he was like, you should get this video game called, I think it was called Sable, because he had showed me the trailer the other day, and I was like, I don't think that game's on Switch. And he's like, no, it is. Totally is. So I tried to get it on Switch. It's totally not available on Switch. And he was laying there next to me. He's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Damn it. And so then we both started like spending time trying to find a good game. And so he would like find a game that sounded like something I'd like. And I'd look at it on the Nintendo store and I'd be like, no. Until we found this game called Mini Metro.
Okay. Interesting.
All right. How do I explain? I can't explain it to you. I have to show you a photo. Well, I mean, I am going to explain it because everyone listening, I better do a good job. But at least to Raylene, I can show you a photo of Mini Metro. Mm-hmm. So Mini Metro is a game that maybe not everyone would love. It looks like this, Raylene.
Oh, no. Okay. It's like a bunch of train lines is what I'm looking at.
It is a train conductor game.
Oh, that's funny.
So basically, you start the game by, it's a bunch of different maps of different cities. So it'll be like, do you want to play in London? Do you want to play in Paris? Or whatever. So you pick the city you want to play in. And then it just gives you like stations, and the stations are different shapes. So you get triangles, squares, and circles to begin with. But then as you keep going and getting like, it's a little bit like, did you ever play Diner Dash?
Yes. God, I love that game.
It's like Diner Dash in that it starts to get progressively harder and more people are coming into the restaurant and you're starting to lose control of the system. It's like a management game. So basically, you know, it starts off with just 3 stations, and then you have train lines, and you start with 3 train lines, and they're different colors. And so you're like, okay, cool. I will connect the square to the triangle to the circle. Easy. You've got 1 train line. Well, then another train station pops up in the top left, and you're like, okay, I'll start a new train line to go up over there. But obviously, you only have limited amount of train lines. And so as it like passes in not in real time, but like it has like a little clock at the top. And so once a week goes by, you get more resources. So you get another train line, or you get more locomotives. Sorry, I'm a nerd. Or you get more carriages, or more bridges, more tunnels, right? Because like, and what's really cool about what's really cool about my train conducting game is that you are interacting with the actual map of that city. So if it's London, there's like the Thames at the bottom, and so you've got to get tunnels to go there. But if you're doing like the New York map, you get bridges, and it's way hard. The New York map is a fucking nightmare. It's so difficult because there's so much. It's an island, right? But then there's all of this stuff that you're trying to get to, I guess, like in Brooklyn and stuff. So you're like trying to fucking cross this water. And it's a management game. It's about it. There's strategy. There's just general like strategic management is what I would say, where you're just trying to figure out how to get the passengers where they want to go.
That's fun. I love games like that.
I love it.
It's like a puzzle, and so it makes you think. It's not as passive of a game as like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing, where it's kind of like you can just do whatever. It's like, no, you gotta think.
Absolutely. And I was saying that to Connor because I was like, so this is something I want to try maybe in the next few months, maybe in the following year, but something I want to try for my YouTube channel. But I will also do updates here on the podcast because it's about my reading life. Is I want to try a bunch of different challenges for making myself read more. So for example, one of them will be like reading every day right when I wake up. Like the first thing I do when I wake up is I have to do 30 minutes of reading. One of them will be going for a walk every day and listening to an audiobook. And so I don't know if I'll do it for a week or for 2 weeks or what. I know properly I should do it for a month because that's like actual pattern or like habit training. But I want to make more videos than that would allow. So we'll either do it for a week or 2. But anyways, one of the ones I really want to do is listening to an audiobook while playing a video game. Right?
Ooh,
maybe it was almost 2 years ago now. I had this summer. I guess it was 2 years ago. Jesus Christ, this pandemic. Last summer, when the pandemic was like really in the beginning stages, it was like I was playing a lot of Animal Crossing and listening to a lot of audiobooks, and it was a good life. Raylene, it was a good life. But I was saying to Connor literally yesterday at lunch, I was like, I can't do that with Mini Metro. When I am playing Mini Metro, I am so focused.
Yeah.
I literally, like, someone will try and talk to me and I have to pause the game and, like, look at them and be like, what? And then I can respond to them and then I, like, get back in the game. It's very focused. It's very demanding. There's so many, like, especially once you're, like, a little deep into a map. My God, there's so many passengers with crazy demands. And so... I can't listen to an audiobook while I play that game. So actually, it would be really cool. I am going to post on Instagram a photo of Mini Metro, okay? Also, I got Mini Metro on my Switch, but you could tell it was an iPad game. And so I got it on my iPad as well. So if you guys have an iPad, it probably is on your phone, now that I think about it.
I bet, yeah.
It seems like they've put it on a lot of different platforms, so I recommend checking it out if this intrigues you. But anyways, I've been playing it now on my iPad because it's way bigger than my Switch screen, and the touch, it's so much easier to move the lines, really.
Yeah, I can imagine.
To manipulate the locomotives. But yes, I'm going to post a photo on the Instagram with, like, it'll be me holding my iPad showing you Mini Metro. But I would love... if you guys would recommend me video games that are good to play while listening to an audiobook.
Yeah, I would like to know that too, because all I've got is Animal Crossing and Stardew.
Yeah.
And Mario Kart. Honestly, I love playing Mario Kart and listening to audiobooks.
That's interesting.
Because that's one of the most, like, mindless games to play. You're literally just racing. You don't really have to...
I never play Mario Kart on my own.
Oh my God. Yeah, sometimes I play... Like, I've started playing... Oh, I've been doing this for a little while now. I remember I listened to the entirety of the Mistborn series while playing Mario Kart.
That's amazing.
And I was just like trying to 3-star every single cup, you know, like that's the goal.
Yeah.
So
or
I recommend that.
If there are people that don't play video games, if there's like a certain activity you do, like maybe, I know, knitting, for example.
I love knitting or cross-stitching, yes.
While you're doing an audiobook, that totally makes sense to me. So you could also do activities. Mainly, I want to try a video game because I think that that's really fun when I'm just sitting there on my Switch and I'm like listening to it. But tell me to knit. Do it.
You should do it. I just started knitting a sweater and I'm scared. It's going to take me a long time, so I need an audiobook.
Have you done a sweater before?
Yes, many years ago I made a Weasley sweater for myself.
Amazing.
But this one is more of like a chunky sweater, so it won't take as long to make because the stitches are going to be big. But I'm kind of just
Did you have to get giant needles?
They're not that big. Although I do have giant needles because I made a blanket a few years ago, so my needles are like this big around.
Yeah.
I'm doing a big circle with my finger and thumb. They're like size 17 or something, or maybe even bigger than that. I can't remember. But no, the ones that I'm using right now are fairly normal sized.
I learned to knit in grade 3. I had a teacher whose name was Mrs. Pope. She was very old. Especially, she seemed very old because I was 8. You know what I mean?
Yep.
She was probably like 70, but like or 65 or something. She seemed
like
really
200 years old.
Also, she had a cane, and that, like, as a kid, I was like, whoa, she must be very old. She was an amazing one. I had very few good teachers.
That's sad.
Anyway, sorry. I know educators are important, but also we've all had terrible teachers. Let's not lie. Mrs. Pope was a good teacher. She was lovely. She clearly cared. She also she had a piano in her room.
Oh my God.
And she would play songs and we'd all sing. It was freaking great. She was really keeping Canadian folk songs alive, let me tell you. But anyway, at some point she was like, I'm going to start a knitting club. If at third recess, you guys did you have the same recess system? Do we all have morning recess, lunch recess, and third recess?
We only had the first recess and lunch. So that's pretty wild. Yeah.
How long were recess? Do you remember how long?
God, I don't remember. I feel like the first one was like, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something. And then the second one was maybe, I don't know, half an hour. I can't remember.
Oh my God.
I don't remember elementary school that well. I was just a blur of running around outside.
That's true. Do you remember when your school started and ended? Maybe you had less school time.
I'm pretty sure I started fairly early, like 8:30 or something.
Okay.
And then we were out at like 2:30 or something. Maybe.
Okay, so because that's slightly different. So I remember my school started at like either 9 or 9:15.
Oh wow!
And then we had morning recess, which was like 15 or 20 minutes. Then we had lunch recess, which was 45 minutes.
Oh wow!
It was huge. And then we had third recess at the end of the day around like 2. That was another 15 or 20 minutes. And then school ended at 3:30. So maybe we had a slightly longer
day. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. That's very interesting. Anyway, third recess for a couple of months I spent at knitting club, and she taught me how to knit, and me and like a bunch of other little 8-year-olds. That's where I learned to knit, and I still remember to this day how to knit because of her. And I still have the knitting needle sheet because we had to pay $5 or something, and she gave us knitting needles and a little ball of yarn. And there were these little red knitting needles, plasticky, bendy. They were really like kids' needles, I guess. Though whenever I knit on those needles. Freaking great.
That's
Mrs.
beautiful.
Pope.
I love that you just have one pair of knitting needles. That's so cute.
And then later I tried to get some purple ones, and they were metal, and I hated them.
I like the metal ones. Those are what I use.
But they were like, you know what was the problem, Raylene? Because I didn't know anything about knitting. So I must have just like gotten some random purple knitting needles when I was like 15 or something. They were like, both of the ends were needles.
Oh yeah, double pointed.
Wow, double pointed, of
DPNs,
course.
man. That's what we call them in the biz. They're used for making socks usually, because you can have 4 of them all in a circle, basically.
I think I just got them because they were like the pretty purple ones,
yeah.
But they made it really hard to knit because it would slide off the end or whatever.
Yeah, they're not ideal for regular knitting.
So that was my mistake. So because of that, I just kept knitting on my tiny red plastic baby needles.
That's so cute. Maybe for your birthday next year, I'll get you knitting supplies. This was a missed opportunity.
Or, well, Christmas is right around the corner. Well, okay. Oh my God, really? I'm still supposed to talk about book news, but this episode is so long. Should we have book news in the next episode? Or should I do it? I think
let's just go for it. News? Let's just go for it. I still have to talk about the book I'm reading too.
Oh my God. Okay. So, I mean, you should talk about the book you're reading. I think that's the next one.
We've been here a long time, so I'll try not to take too long. But I am currently reading a book that I'm really, really enjoying. And that is Unbelievable by T. Christian Miller and Ken Armstrong. It was actually originally published under the title A False Report, but then it was made into a Netflix series in, I think, 2019. And so I've got the Netflix cover. But anyways, this is a fantastic bit of investigative journalism, like on the part, like the book itself. These 2 men who've written the book, I think they won the Pulitzer for this. I don't know if it was for this or for something else, but anyways, it's incredibly written, incredibly well put together. But the basic story of what happened, it takes place in Washington in 2008, when an 18-year-old woman, she reported being raped. And then she reported it to the police, and then some doubt was kind of introduced by some people in her life, and the police started to question whether or not she was telling the truth. And a bunch of stuff happened, and basically she took back what she said. She said, it didn't actually happen, just kidding. And she was basically charged with false reporting. And so she just decided she didn't want to be a part of it. Like, she just wanted to take herself out of this because it was causing her so much stress, and all of her friends abandoned her and all this stuff. Right. And but then her story was, still in the police's minds. They knew like what she said happened. And then some more reports start popping up that sound the exact same as what happened to Marie. Mm-hmm. And it's like in a couple of different cities around, kind of surrounding Seattle. And so these different police officers from different, police forces start kind of coming together to help each other figure out what's going on. And what's really interesting about the way they wrote the book is, probably about a third of the way into the book, there was one chapter that was talking about a nameless man and explaining his story, and I was like, oh my God, this is the rapist that we're talking about right now. But they don't tell you his name or anything, but you know that they found him. So it's kind of a relief when you're reading the book, because you're like, oh, okay, we know that they figured out who it was, and hopefully everything works out by the end. And so it's the way that the book was put together is just genius. It's such a good bit of narrative nonfiction. Like, it reads like a novel. Just the way they've written it is so so good. It's never like dense and overly kind of informational and just throwing a bunch of crap at you. It only tells you what you need to know, and it does it in the right order, and it does it so well. And it's just incredible. I'm almost finished it. I'll probably finish it today, but it's quite a short book, actually. It's like 250 pages. So if you're interested in true crime at all, but are kind of scared of the giant murder tomes that exist, this could be a good introduction maybe. And it's a very interesting story. So I'm loving it. It's very like dark and hard to read at times, obviously, but it is a very, very good book. So yeah.
And have you seen the show?
Yes, I have, actually. I watched the show a couple of years ago and then bought the book and have been it's been a mashed potato book for me, or I guess we could call it a chipmunk book maybe. I was saving it for just the right moment, and then I just decided now was the time because I knew I was going to love it, and I am loving it. So yeah.
Wow.
But the show is also incredible. It stars Toni Collette and another actress whose name I don't know, and they kind of are like the leading detectives. And so it's really great. The show is very female oriented, where it's like these female detectives who are like, we're going to get to the bottom of this.
You definitely usually see male detectives.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
And so yeah, that show is incredible. I highly, highly recommend it. It is on Netflix. Yeah.
Damn. Okay, that's awesome. I'm excited for you to finish it. I'm really glad you're liking it. It feels like too. I feel like you went through a period where you weren't liking very many books. Actually, we called it an episode like Raylene reads 3 disappointing books.
I read a bunch of books.
But now you're reading a bunch of good ones.
It's because I'm reading my autumn books now, and autumn books are just the best.
Better.
So.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Raylene, it's time for book news, and I'm a little scared because there's so much of it.
All right.
Cue the music. Okay, so I have been I think it's because of the same thing that you were saying, like you read a bunch of books because like you had a bunch of books to talk about because it's been a while since we've done like a normal Books Unbound episode. I think that's the same reason why I have so much fucking book news.
Yeah, you've been loading it up for like a month.
Yes, every time I see something, I put it on my list, and now it's a long list. So let's just start. And I guess I won't talk about each thing too much because I do have too much to talk about.
Okay.
Number 1. The National Book Awards long list has been announced.
Oh my God.
I know. And so here it is.
Yeah.
Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr, who also wrote All the Light We Cannot See. Transition tangent. All the Light We Cannot See has been announced as a Netflix show. All the Light We Cannot See. Netflix announced this show like 2 days ago. The book or like the news is out here.
That's right.
So that's going to be a show now. That was one of my news. Cool. Cross that off. Back to the national book list. We've got Matrix by Lauren Groff, who also wrote Fates and Furies.
Yeah. I really need to read her.
I know. This book, okay, the cover and the name, Matrix, I guess maybe just because of the Matrix, it looks a little sci-fi-y, or I'm not too sure. Maybe, but then the book... This is actually super interesting, Raylene.
Yeah.
Cast Out of the Royal Court by Eleanor of Aquitaine, deemed too coarse and rough-hewn for marriage or courtly life. 17-year-old Marie de France is sent to England to be the new prioress of an impoverished abbey. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, it sounds really good, but it goes again with my theory that we're in a medieval moment.
Uh-huh.
Right?
I think so. Isn't the Matrix? I was just looking it up. I think it might be medieval also.
This is the book I'm talking about. The Matrix.
Oh, sorry.
That is the medieval. Yeah, no.
I zoned out for a second because I was looking it up.
Totally. Matrix is the medieval book that I'm telling you about. Wild. And it's, again, I'm talking about, I think we're in the medieval moment that I predicted. So
I believe, look, the wave is beginning. It's getting bigger and bigger. And over the next 2 years, I think it's going to be a tsunami.
Abundance by Jacob Guanzon. I don't know anything about it. Zori by Laird Hunt. Never heard of it. The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois by Honorée Fanon Jeffers. Never heard of it.
So I think I saw that at the bookstore yesterday.
Oh, okay. The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. Definitely seen that cover around. Intimacies by Katie Kitamura. Don't know that book either. There's a lot of books on this list, like all of them I didn't know about. The Souvenir Museum Stories. It's a short story collection. Made it onto the prize by Elizabeth McCracken. Hell of a Book by Jason Mott. Bewilderment by Richard Powers. So that author of the Overstory.
Yeah, that's also nominated
On the
or
Booker
shortlisted for
Prize.
the Man Booker, I think, right?
Yes. So that's the list of the National Book Award. Okay. So we're going to have to keep tabs on that now. I don't
Definitely.
remember when. I think the shortlist is announced in either October or November. But then that brings me to my other piece of news. The shortlist for the Booker Prize has been announced.
Yes.
Bit of a tragedy. Second place, the only book I bought from the list did not make it.
And Clara and the Sun, the only one I've read, also didn't make it.
The ones that did make it are The Promise by Damon Galgut? I'm not sure. A Passage North by Anouk Arudpragazem. No One Is Talking About This by Patricia Lockwood. The one I DNF'd. Damn it. The Fortune Men by Nadifa Muhammad. Bewilderment by Richard Powers. So that book's doing great. And Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. A book I keep hearing incredible things about. Everyone is praising it so much. It sounds like it's I can't say fan fiction about Amelia Earhart, but like the lives of a fearless female aviator and the actress who portrays her on screen decades later intersect. She perishes in a plane crash. So it sounds like Amelia Earhart-y. But anyways. Okay, those are all the book prize. That's all the book prize news. What else do I got on my list here? Okay, this one is huge. This is probably, I should have started with this one, okay?
God, I'm so excited.
I looked up My Year of Rest and Relaxation on IMDb because we haven't had any news about it in a long time. We had announced a while ago that director was attached to it. Yorgos, is that his name?
I don't remember.
Am I saying that? I feel like I'm saying that wrong. No, it is Yorgos Lanthimos. What a cool name. He directed The Favorite, The Lobster, The Killing of a Sacred Deer. All of his projects have these like insanely beautiful covers.
God, I know. I love the covers for his movies.
So he's been attached to the project for the movie of My Year of Rest and Relaxation, but we don't know exactly what's going on there.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh God, why haven't we gotten news? So I went on the page, on the IMDb page, and under producer, there is 6 producers listed, and one of them is Margot Robbie. Now, this is huge news, because this was definitely not here the last time I looked at this page, or I would have talked about it. And I feel like we might have even mentioned that Margot Robbie could work for this role.
Yeah, probably.
I still think Anya Taylor-Joy would be perfect, but that's fine. One of the shocking things about Margot Robbie that
we learned something crazy about her.
She was born in the 90s. I'm sorry. I don't understand that. She seems like she's definitely 10 years older than us, right? Like she's so, maybe it's because she's just so elegant and beautiful and put together.
She seems so grown up.
She seems so grown up, but she was born in the 90s like us. So that haunts me to this day. Christ, that's kind of scary. That's scary. She just turned 30. Like she was 29 most of I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm freaking out over here.
I can't imagine her being under 30. It just seems so weird.
I know.
Which makes me also think like 5 years ago or whatever when The Wolf of Wall Street came out, she was like 24, 25?
No, exactly.
I thought for sure she was 30 at that time.
No, God. Exactly. So anyway, that's all horrifying news. We're older than we think we are. But, okay, so she has done a couple of really interesting producing things. Like she's produced a couple of cool things, and she has a production company whose name I now forget, but she was a producer on Promising Young Woman. She was a producer on Birds of Prey, which has like insanely much better reviews than Suicide Squad. But she also was the producer for I, Tonya, and that did amazingly well. So one of the interesting, like Reese Witherspoon, like a lot of people that have their own production companies, she often stars in the movies she produces. And I bring this up because My Year of Rest and Relaxation is about a beautiful, young, skinny, white woman, right? And that is what Margot Robbie is.
And she fits the age range too, which we originally were like, there's no way she could do it because she's too old. And then we figured out that she's not old. And we were like, shit, she's perfect. She has to be the lead.
She's perfect. So, this is all speculation because the IMDb page for My Year of Rest and Relaxation is as bare as it could be. It just, like, on the all cast and crew section, all it has is writer, and then it has Otaza Moshfegh, and then producer, and then it has these 6 producers, but, like, it's clearly sketchy. So
it's like, who knows if it's even
idea.
real at this point.
Yeah, it's starting to feel not real. I'm going to blame COVID. Just so many movies, everything in the movie world has like fallen back on production, right? And everything is behind. But anyway, definitely wanted to continue our My Year of Rest and Relaxation coverage here. Oh my God. Passing by Nella Larson. The trailer came out. Okay. Very exciting because you finished reading that book, right? And I almost finished reading it. So that's basically as far as I get these days. Nella Larson. So I'm trying to look up the trailer. Yes, here it is. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, confirmed. So this is a Netflix movie.
Yes. Oh,
that's
very
amazing. Exciting.
I didn't realize that.
Because yes, so we'll all get to see it. We'll all have access to it. It won't be like in some countries. It's just a Netflix movie. They've made a couple of interesting choices here, Aileen. Choice number 1, they made it black and white. Oh. Have you seen the trailer?
No, you sent it to me and I forgot to watch it, honestly. I noticed that it was black and white, but I thought maybe it was just like an aesthetic thing for the...
Yes, for the thumbnail. Yeah. No, the whole movie is black and white, which I get it because the movie is literally about like, what does it mean to be black or white? Like it's like about the grays in between. Yeah. So the movie is in grayscale. So that's interesting. Secondly, they did like an old timey 4:3 ratio. Oh. So it's like almost a square as opposed to widescreen. So there's a couple of choices there. The movie looks beautiful, stunning, like really gorgeously done. The shots look really beautiful. The actresses look really like of the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the fashion and the makeup and the hair and everything looks really beautiful and cool. But of course, there's controversy. And I don't know if controversy is the right choice. Just a conversation. I don't know. About the actresses that have been chosen. So the 2 actresses are Tessa Thompson, who I know from like Marvel, right? She's like the badass in Marvel, in the Thor movies. And then Ruth Negga, who, what have I seen her in? She's in cool stuff.
I know her from Misfits, weirdly enough. She was in Misfits back in the day.
I think that's what I first knew her from. Yeah. You got me on that show.
God,
that is such a good show.
I love that show.
That is such a good show. I kind of hate how it ended, but like, whatever, that's like, what can we do? And she's in World War Z. Oh, I don't know if anyone cares about that, but she is in that. Okay, so it's just so fascinating from like a book conversational perspective, almost like a paratext, looking at the comments under the trailer, because everyone is discussing whether or not they think the actresses pass. And it's like, that's literally the point of the movie in a way. So like, you know, in some cases it's insensitive to talk about whether or not people pass or not. And that's a you decision. You don't need to talk about that in the comments of a video. But on the other hand, that's literally what the movie's about. Like the movie is about people deciding who passes and who doesn't. And here the comments are having the same conversation. So I just think that's really interesting. And we talked about this when we realized that they were making a movie about the book. We talked about who are they going to cast in this situation, because this is it's a nebulous, ambiguous thing.
Yeah, and like in a book, it's easy enough, but
exactly.